Wolves 0, Chelsea 0. Before we even get to the game, Janusz, Thomas Tuchel was not happy that this game even took place. Does he have a point?
I think to a degree he does, right? I mean, it's so difficult. It's unlike maybe injuries where you usually find out maybe the day before, you already known that for 2 or 3 or 4 days, right? Here, the day of the game, things change. I think to a degree, he mentioned something that, the Premier League may be just pretending that there isn't a problem. There is a problem. When you get ready for a game, you get ready for set pieces, patterns of play, and, you find out the day of the game that, testing has changed. It's same for everyone, but maybe the rules in terms of numbers and how many players can be missing for you to have a game or not is different. But I can certainly understand his problems, right? Because it's too easy to say, well, it's an excuse. Well, it isn't an excuse. It doesn't really matter how many, it doesn't matter who's missing or what kind of players are missing. They're important parts, and Chelsea, of course, are a deep squad. But sometimes, as we saw today, it's just too many even names to mention in terms of key players that weren't available. So I hear him.
You couldn't even name a full bench today. So how much of this, and by this I mean Chelsea's poor recent form, is down to injuries and COVID and illness, and how much of it is down to just poor form because they've still got some decent players?
Well, the form's been up and down. We know when everyone's available, they're a very good unit. This is probably as unbalanced as I've seen Chelsea play under Thomas Tuchel, at least in the first half. Things have changed a little bit in the second half. I think we saw a real Chelsea, but if you take aside the injuries and the COVID situation, the system and the tactics are the same and should be in place for that. And you still expect more from the front three. When I look at Ziyech, Pulisic, and Mason Mount, we saw similar problems in the game against Everton. Many more chances against Everton, but here really, one shot on goal, and that was probably the only chance they had when Jose saw. That was a beautiful save on Christian Pulisic in that one. But other than that, you just never felt that Chelsea were able to break down Wolves, who are, by the way, difficult to break down. Only 14 goals conceded, right?
Yeah, 2 goals conceded in the last 7 games. I want to talk a lot more about Wolves shortly because I feel they don't get enough credit for how difficult they are to beat. But when you and I and you and others and me and others talk about a title race going forward in the Premier League, is it too early to rule Chelsea out? Is it a Man City and Liverpool head-to-head again of Chelsea fallen by the wayside?
It's probably too early, but the separation is obvious. And we saw that in the last few games. It didn't take this game, right? It's only 6 points, I suppose, that separates Chelsea from Man City. So there's still plenty of time. They're going to be playing soon enough against each other, so you can make that up. But I think the separation in quality is there. Even, I think, because you look at the last few games, and you say to yourself, okay, there was a problem in terms of scoring goals. They've been scoring goals, but defensively, they haven't been the same, right? They're missing some pieces, but key pieces are still there. So I think if you look at the quality of Manchester City and Liverpool, you have to say that you're starting to see Chelsea cracking just a little bit.
As promised, I want to talk about Wolves. Let's talk about the goal that was disallowed, first of all, and correctly so. Daniel Podence with a good finish, but it was Raul Jimenez making a play on the ball from an offside position from Marçal's cross. That was why the goal was correctly chalked off. However, if it had have counted and he had been onside, I think they would have deserved it because I thought they started the game very well.
Yeah, as I said, in the first half, they were very, very dangerous. No questions about that. I think you can see the difference, and you and I have been talking about it. I'm still not sure why that is, but Daniel Podence needs to play all the time, right? He hasn't played for them. He makes a massive difference. The ball to Leander Den Donker, which that, by the way, should have been a goal. A sitter, a header, free header from 6-7 yards out, right at the goalkeeper. I think Wolves needed to turn that into a goal for sure. So yeah, Wolves. Look, you look at Chelsea, and I'm sure everybody's looking at this as 2 points lost, but let's have a look what Liverpool had to do. 94th minute goal from Divock Origi. You look at Manchester City going in, there's a Sterling on a penalty that's been disputed. By the way, today, Conte, that was a flashpoint, I suppose. Could that have been a sending off? I don't think so, but certainly those two situations are somewhat similar, different decisions. decisions as well. So Wolves are a solid team. They don't score enough either. So I want to give them as much credit as I can, but they also need to be turning some of these good performances into W's, and they haven't done that. Not enough anyway.
Correct, but they know in the majority of games that they play, one goal will be enough. So that's just another issue that they have to resolve. Finally, about Wolves, what makes them so hard to play against, and why do they have such a good defensive record of late with this formation, the 3-5-2 that they're playing?
Well, yeah, I think the solidity, the back three, as you've seen, I mean, Connor Cody has been absolutely superb. Even today, couple block shots that may have gone unnoticed to some, but there were very, very key moments where he recovers so well. Kilman's been good, Saiss, of course, and a number of players that I think have developed a good partnership now for a long time, not just here under the new manager, but even with Nuno Espirito Santo. They've always been that sort of a team, especially at the Molineux, that just sits back for the most part and looks to counter. So nothing new there. The solidity is there. But again, I think going forward, they have to redevelop, and be a little bit more dangerous, I think.
It wasn't a good game. It was 0-0. Happier for Wolves, I'm sure, that they got a point than Thomas Tuchel will be. But the headlines from this one will be Thomas Tuchel's comments that this game should not have taken place.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.